Hare Krishna. So a very good evening, and here we are beginning with this session. So I know that most of you know me, but those of you who do not know me, so I have a background of being a psychotherapist. I did my graduation in psychology. I worked with a drug de-addiction center as a counselor there for a while. And I have also done a couple of courses in psychotherapy, and I am a trained psychotherapist. So here today I am presenting you 5 of my very own experiences about people with low self-esteem. Actually, 4 of them is mine and 1 is of a fellow devotees. So we were discussing and she told me. So total there are 5 incidents which we would be discussing. And because many of you have been asking, like in real life, how to do that, how to practically apply Krishna consciousness, how do I maintain my duties, my responsibilities, and simultaneously take care of Krishna consciousness? How can Krishna consciousness help me in changing my overall perspective, in giving me a perspective, in giving me some confidence in changing and overhauling my personality? So there were so many such questions I have been receiving, especially from my youth audience. So this has been designed keeping in mind those things, where I will not be discussing scriptures as such, but I'll be discussing 5 of these fascinating cases, the case history we would be discussing today. So lessons from real life story, a spiritual perspective. So I'll not go like in the scriptures also. These are those stories which I have personally observed. So I'll straight away dig into these stories so that you all my viewers are interested here. So now coming up first is the story of a college boy. So this college boy, he was in his 2nd year of graduation in his college, and he had a lot of insecurities about his appearance. Actually, he had some major hormonal issues, and which made him look much younger than his peers. So like things like maturing did not happen. So he did not have beard, he had no muscles, and generally the voice changes for when a person is adulting. So the voice also did not change. So there were all those things which he was maintaining, and he looked like a teen. Though he was oldest in the class and others would call him as Anna also, and yet he would look a tiny little young boy, like a school boy, though he was in a college. Now, some of us may feel, oh, what is the problem? I mean, it's good. And especially when we age, we start appreciating that only if I had those younger looks. But for this boy, it was challenging. It was a big challenge for his manlyhood. So he would feel that he is like a complete failure. He is a damaged product. He would fantasize, like you can see in the screen. So he would fantasize, only if I had good muscles, only if I had these beards, somehow I could look older than what I look. And he would constantly wonder whether the girls would find him attractive or not, because he's looking so young. So actually, before coming to this college, he was in some other college before. And just to fulfill this need, he started associating with wrong type of people, and he got, the gundas, the college gundas, and he was actually expelled from that college. And then he came to this college, but this feeling of worthlessness, useless was there. He was a very sensitive person, and he would often get irritated and angry. His need to prove himself was so huge that ultimately he was having these existential issues, like whether to live or to commit suicide. To that degree he was pushed. And all this, despite that, he had so many accomplishments on his life. He would think that he was a failure, but actually he was a class topper. He was very good in public speaking skill. He is a multi-talented boy who was very good at music, debates, so like so many other areas where he was very competent. But because of this one thing, what we call it body image or body shaming, he was not able to see anything good happening in his life. So he would feel that he is completely failure, he is completely worthless. So this is this boy from this story. not the story, the real life. And for him, these problems were very, very real. So his problem was, one, that he would ignore his strengths and accomplishment. So his thought process was, so what if I'm a class topper or good in music? I don't look manly enough, and that is humiliating. His second problem was deep anxiety related to his looks. So he would, of course, keep thinking, I'm not muscular, I don't look like a man, I look more like a girl, no one would find me attractive. So everything related to his body. Then third, he started getting these suicidal thoughts that I'm a complete waste. Why shall I exist? Let me end my life. It is aimless, it is hopeless. So there is no point in living my life. And then he would have these frequent mood swings or anger outbursts. He was very sensitive, and anybody would say anything and he would personalize it. He would take it on himself, and he would think that people are actually teasing him. If somebody calls him as Anna, he would feel that he was being teased. If somebody addressed him as a small boy, again, he would feel that he was being teased. So he would get these thoughts that sometimes I wish I could kill these boys who tease me and kill these people, just to get over them. So these were his 4 big time problems. Now, coming to Krishna consciousness, and how do we find the resolve of these problems? So here it is, the solution. So this person, when he came in touch with the devotee, so on the right column, on the left column, I have written the problems, and the right side is the solution. So his problem was that he was ignoring his strengths and accomplishment. And then when he came in touch with devotees, he got to know about the attitude of gratitude. That how the Supreme Lord has mercifully showered us with so many good qualities, with so many talents. Everything actually is Krishna's blessings. The air in which we are breathing, that is also Krishna's blessing, right? So everything around us, it is Krishna's blessing, what is happening in our life. And we must develop this habit of thanking the Supreme Lord for providing all what we have. So when it started like that, when he was told about working on this attitude of gratitude, so then he started thinking, Krishna has blessed me with so much opulence. In a class of 60, there is only one topper, and Krishna chose it to be me. So though I am completely undeserving, I am a recipient of his unlimited blessings. So you see how earlier he would think that what if I am a topper, yet I am a failure. But because of this attitude of gratitude, his thought changed, and he started thinking that how he is the recipient of Krishna's unlimited blessings. The second problem, deep anxiety related to the body. So then he was taught, like when we read Bhagavad Gita, very beginning in the 2nd chapter, we get to know that I am not this body. So then his thought changed, and rather than contemplating only about his body, he started thinking that I have been changing bodies since time immemorial. I have been transmigrating in various bodies. I have been in worse body than now, and I survived. Now at least I have a human form, and this body is designed for higher purpose and can lead me to perfection. So this is how he started thinking, just by this input, that I am not the body. The third point about him getting suicidal thoughts. So for this suicidal thought, actually, he was taught that I continue to exist beyond the body. With the end of the body, our life does not end. So when he get to know that, okay, so there is the transmigration, and so he realized that I have got this body based on my past actions. He was also made aware of the theory of karma. So he was like, I have got this body based on my past actions. If I end this now, I again start from wherever I am. So suicide is not an option. That is what his conclusion was. He decided that suicide is not an option. Tolerance is the option, because if I tolerate my embarrassment, if I tolerate my humiliation, then I would even out my karmic reaction. Also, that suicide would generate more sinful reactions as I'll be breaking down the laws of nature. So ultimately, I'll suffer more. So you see how from his existential crisis, he completely changed when he got to know about the laws of karma and about how with the end of the body, the miseries does not end. So whatever miseries I am facing, it is actually my karmic reaction, which is due for long and it is coming in this shape. So even if I put an end, even if I commit suicide, the same journey would continue from my next body onward. Moreover, suicide in itself is such a sinful thing. It increases my miseries. I may be getting even more problem and I may end up in a more miserable body than this one. So this is what he realized. And talking about the fourth thing about his mood swings and anger. So for that, he realized that my mood is actually the modes. So it is not that his mood was swinging, it is his modes which were changing. So again in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains in great detail about the modes of material nature and how there is mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. We can actually control or we can actually choose which mode we want to be in. And as the name sounds, out of the three, goodness is the best. Passion is a very passionate state where people get very angry, upset, annoyed, frustrated. Lot of greed is there, lot of demands from others and from themselves, lot of expectations. So those people are in mode of passion. And then there is mode of ignorance or tamogun, where the person is very lazy and crazy mode. So he does not really bother about so many things in life. It is a state of madness and sleep. So that is mode of ignorance. So this person realizes about the difference between goodness, passion, and ignorance. He also came to an understanding as how by eating food in mode of goodness, by associating with people who are in mode of goodness, by listening to music which is in mode of goodness. So all these various aspects are there through which he can actually change his modes. So he started focusing on that and he started thinking that I am controlled by the modes of nature and sometimes I give it in. But let me not become a puppet in the hands of the material modes. Let me start chanting whenever I start losing my temper. And that would remind me of the most beautiful form of the Supreme Lord. And when that beautiful form of the Lord is present in front of me, then of course the modes would be defeated. So this is how the same thought which was giving him like ideas of even to the extent of killing those boys who were teasing him, and he completely changed from one extreme to the other extreme. So this is how actually this is practical application of Krishna consciousness, and the same person who became a devotee later on and very confident, very grateful. So confidence, now from where is this confidence arising? This confidence is not coming from my ego. This is not pride. But this confidence is coming because I am reviving my relationship with the Supreme Lord. I am reviving my relationship with Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. I am trying to live the principles of the sacred literature, and that is how my confidence comes. So this was the first case. Let's go to the second case. I hope some of you may find some similarity, something. I'm trying to cover, like I've tried to cover a lot of aspects. So let's see. The second case is about a divorced lady. Now this lady, when she was a young girl, her father passed away. I mean, she was just a teenager, and that was a major setback in her life. So she started having those phases of feeling low when she was very young. I mean, she was around her 16, 17 at that time. And that time itself, because of the sudden loss of her father, to whom she was very attached to, she actually developed some degree of stammering. Like she was not a very fluent speaker later on. And then with the passage of time, she actually found a boy and she got married. Now this was a case of love marriage. She was like, she really liked this boy and she got into a marriage relationship. But the day she got married, the very next day she realized that she had made a huge, huge mistake. Actually, that person was behind her money, and from the very second day itself, her mother-in-law and her husband started torturing her for getting more dowry and other things. They started exploiting her. Right from the second day, there was a lot of domestic abuse which started happening with her. So this girl was, anyway, I mean, she was very fragile before. She was quite vulnerable, and she thought that she has found the love of her life. But then this is how tragically it ended. Her marriage did not last even 10 days. And during these 10 days, she was not allowed to meet her family or call her family. But she had, thankfully, a very loving and supportive family. So her brother came and he took her back. When he saw her sister in this condition, he took her back. So now, because of this, first was the death of father, and second was this failed marriage. This girl had major issues with self-esteem. She would constantly carry this feeling of rejection, and she had major trust issues. She started doubting people, that everybody would exploit her. She lost all confidence in herself, and like, even if she was with people, she would not actually get into any discussion, because she was always so conscious that people would doubt her, or people would judge her, or what if they do not like her. So like that, she took a very, very silent position. And this deep-rooted fear of failure and would be exploited in a relationship was like popping within her. So she was going through a depression, and to come out of it, she actually got a job in a place far, far away from her native place. But she relocated, and not along with her mother or brother, but alone she relocated. And when she came to this new place, she started staying away from people in order to avoid any potential relationship. Like, what to talk about a loving interaction, even she would not make friends. She just pulled her shutters down and she went in her shell, and there she was. So the problem with this girl, we would call her a girl because she was very young when she got married and all that was happening. So what was her problems? Now the problem, this case I was personally handling. So the problem which we could identify was fear of toxic relationship. She would always have this fear. What if I get into another such relationship? Better let me be aloof from others. How can I trust anybody? How do I know that the other person would not fail me, or would not exploit me, or is not behind me for my money? So all those doubts. So fear of toxic relationship. Second was fear of letting go of the past experiences. She would always hold on to her past so strongly, thinking that how can I forget the pains I had to undergo? I am suffering so badly due to my past. And then third was grief of her father's death. Actually, though she got married and divorced and everything, and yet she could never come out of that attachment to her father and that incomplete relationship. She would always feel this sense of incompleteness, that relationship ended too fast. And then the fourth was fear of rejection. So she would always think that I cannot be with people. I don't feel confident about getting into any other relationship. I don't want to talk to others also, because others may judge me. What if they don't like me? So all these things made her a very complex person on a very, very low self-esteem. And this wonderful, otherwise wonderful girl, I mean, in her job, she was super excellent, brilliant performer. So she came in touch with devotees, and let's see what she learns from this devotee association. So talking about her problems. So first problem was fear of toxic relationship. And when she came in touch with devotees, she got to know that Krishna is the supreme controller. Even if I get into any problem, Krishna is the supreme controller. And since he is the master, I need not fear. In fact, there is this song which I could connect with her situation. It's a Hindi song which says, जब सौंप दिया इस जीवन का हर भार तुम्हारे हाथों में, है जीत तुम्हारे हाथों में और हार तुम्हारे हाथों में. When I have given all my, what bhar is what? All whatever weight I was carrying, when I have handed it over to you. So now it is all in your hands. जीत तुम्हारे हाथों में और हार तुम्हारे हाथों में. If you want me to win, make me a winner. If you want me to lose, make me a loser. I am taking your shelter completely, oh my dear Krishna. So this is how she was handling her first problem. The second problem, fear of letting go of the past experiences. Now, again, her counselor, her mentor reminded her, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, Hari Hari Bolo, Hari Hari Bol. So this stuck deep within her and she started thinking, how can I always remember Krishna when I'm always holding on my past? I have not yet forgiven my ex-husband. So how can I remember anybody else, because so much of pain I am constantly going through? So then she decided that let me forget my past and move on. In the past, I have a failed marriage, whereas future shows the eternal loving relationship with Krishna. So unless I leave past, I can't move towards Krishna. So let me leave this and let me go towards Krishna, to a place where there is always happiness, to a place of all fulfilling relationship, to a place where every step is a dance and every word is a song. So to reach that place, one has to come to that degree or that level of always remember Krishna. So this mantra helped her resolve this problem of letting go of the past. The third problem, grief of father's death. So now she was taught about the laws of transmigration of soul, as how the soul keeps changing body and soul is eternal and soul never dies. So she started thinking that my father probably is in some other body. And I know if I can please Krishna, the soul of my father would be benefited too. In fact, she was taught about this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, where Nrsimhadev tells Prahlad Maharaj that anyone who becomes a devotee, his or her 21 generations are liberated. So because when her father was there and she had this incomplete relationship, so she would always think that I could not do anything for my father, though he gave me so much, but I was always at the receiving end and I could not do anything for him. So now this was her opportunity to become a wonderful devotee so that her father would also get liberated. So this was the third problem and how it got resolved. And the fourth problem, the fear of rejection. So she had this huge fear of rejection. And as I said, so that is why she would not be up there for public speaking or for any group discussion or for socializing. So she would not even socialize with people because of that fear. Now, she come to this verse in Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter, where Krishna says that one who preaches my glories become my dearmost devotee. So this verse, when she reads that one who preaches my glories become my dearmost devotee, then she started thinking, so what if I have fear that others may not like me? I will just speak what Krishna says. I will just speak what Krishna likes. I will speak for Krishna. I will speak on behalf of Krishna, and I will speak about Krishna. So with this determination, imagine I'm talking about a girl who was completely in her shell. And when she came to our temple and when she got this philosophy, she became the top book distributor. Every weekend or every holiday, she would be here in our ISKCON Chennai temple with lots of books, standing there, calling out people and distributing books. So she had self-doubt, but she didn't doubt Krishna. She didn't doubt on the words of Krishna, on the authority of Krishna. And she got such confidence just because she was speaking and repeating the message of Krishna. So this is the second success story, which I personally feel very connected to, because this girl whom I'm describing is very dear to me, very close to me. Moving on to the third case. Now this case is of a neglected child. So again, this is a story of a girl. When she was growing up as a small child, she was neglected and ignored by her father. So this girl, though she was good looking and talented, Yet somehow her father would always like favor the younger sibling. So they were two sisters, and father would always favor the younger one and would like beat her, or if not beating, scold her. And then finally he came to a point where he would constantly neglect her or ignore her. So ignoring somebody or feeling neglect, that is the worst feeling to live with. I mean, if you have not faced that, you cannot relate to it, what I'm talking about. But there is nothing worse than being neglected. Even if a person is your enemy and he is shouting at you, still at least he is noticing your presence. He's acknowledging your presence. But if a person is neglected or ignored, which means that the presence itself is completely dismissed. So this girl, when she was growing up, though she was good looking, she was talented, but always because of this, she was in anxiety, and constant neglect became such an integral part of her personality that she started feeling that she is not lovable, that no one would ever love her, that she cannot do anything correctly. And she started feeling that how unlucky she is. Whatever she would do, everything would fail and collapse. I mean, it was all in her mind, not that it was happening around her. But then any small little failure, and that would go and it would like strengthen her this belief that she is a complete failure. So what happened is, as time progressed and this girl was growing, she started taking refuge in self-pity. So she would always pity herself. She would think, I am below average in looks, and she started thinking that she is unlucky, and no matter how hard she would work, she would never achieve success. She is unworthy of people's love, and there is no hidden talent in her. So all these things were going on in her mind. And this is how this girl was growing up, but with extremely low self-esteem. So let's see what are her problems. So her problems were that she became very critical of herself. Like, she would not give credit to herself even if she would do something right, because she would judge herself very, very critically, because she had this firm faith that I am not good for anything. So whatever would happen, and she would like put it on herself. Second was that she would constantly feel guilty. She would think that I am unlucky, and wherever I get involved, that area is doomed. I am responsible for whatever goes wrong in my entire universe. So if anything goes wrong with, let's say, with her uncle or aunt or parents or colleague or anywhere, or her friends, always she would point finger towards herself that where did I go wrong? What did I do? What did I do? So she was constantly blaming herself for everything. And third was this rejection. So she would think that father-daughter relationship is so special, and yet I'm completely deprived of that love. So I'm not worthy of love at all. And that is why even my own father doesn't love me. So no one would ever love me. So this is all what was going on in her mind. And then Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, boom. And then came the devotees in her life, and she gets solution, and she looks as beautiful and bubbly as you can see there in the picture, which Vraj Bhumi has very beautifully drawn. So, and before we proceed, for this particular session, Vraj Bhumi, Devidasi and Ruchika Jain, they have so expertly made a lot of pictures. So I'm very grateful and thankful to them. It is adding so much of flavor, and they were working like half an hour before we actually started the presentation. So coming back to this girl, so the problem one, that she was very critical of herself. Now in ISKCON, we lay a lot of emphasis on attending classes. All of you there, I am sure, are attending classes. Some of you Gita Mastery course, Gita Made Easy course, or otherwise the IYS Saturday classes. So why do we attend classes? Is because from the classes we get the solution. The application depends on us. To the degree we are sincere, to that degree we can pick up and apply in our lives. So one of the solution what she got was part and whole philosophy. So this is stated in Ishopanishad, and she could understand that how she is not good enough. Maybe she is not good enough, but she came to a realization, but my master is the best. And I will become intelligent, I will become talented, I will become beautiful, I will become lovable if I become his instrument. So just like my hand or my finger is useless if it is separated from my body, and if it is joined within my body, then it functions so well. So when the part is united with the whole, then it has its function. So this point stuck her, and she understood that she was willing to become an instrument in the hands of Krishna. If this part gets united with the whole, then everything would be resolved. So in isolation, maybe she is not good enough, but when she's connected to Krishna, she can definitely do outstanding services. So that gave her some confidence. Her second problem was of the guilt. So again, one of the classes, and this is mentioned, that Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai andhakar. Jaha Krishna yaha taha Maya ra adhikar. That wherever, that Krishna is like a Surya or sun, and Maya or illusion is like darkness. So wherever there is Krishna, the darkness cannot exist. So either the sun will be there or darkness will be there. Both the things cannot simultaneously exist. So when this point reached, and how can we correct here, is she started thinking, I may be inauspicious and dark, but if the sun, which has taken the form of Krishna, if he will enter in my life, then everything will become auspicious. Since I have started chanting, the inauspicious is eradicated. Everything about me is auspicious as long as I am connected with Krishna. So the guilt feeling completely vanishes because I am making Krishna a part of my life. How can guilt or inauspiciousness or me being unlucky be there if Krishna is there? Because what can be a bigger luck than having Krishna in my life? This is the rarest of rare opportunity which we have got in this human form of life, because not only we have taken human birth, but we have came in connection with Srila Prabhupada. So what can be more auspicious? So how can I be unlucky if I have the luckiest of treasure in my life? Coming to her third problem about rejection, and especially she was facing all this rejection from her father. And then reading Bhagavad Gita, we find there the verse in I think 14th or 18th. I'm confused. Either 14th or 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that I am the seed-giving father. So Krishna is the father from whom everything else emanates. He is the source of everything. And Krishna's representative is the spiritual master. And Guru is actually the spiritual father. So when she got in touch with her spiritual master, and her feeling transformed. So far, because of the father's rejection, she had been holding this tightly about how she is not worthy of love. And now she started thinking that Guru Maharaj is my spiritual father, and he is nourishing me with all what I need. I find so much of love and care and concern in his voice and in his dealings. And if he loves me, then surely Krishna and his devotees would love me. And if my Guru loves me, if Krishna loves me, if his devotees love me, that's all that matters. So she is completely satisfied. She knows that in today's day, there are some wonderful people for whom she is absolutely important. And that tackles, or that takes care of her feeling of rejection with which she had actually grown up. So this was my third case. And coming to the fourth case, for those of you, our married couples. So here we are coming up with a case, a classic case of a husband and a wife. So this is a middle-aged couple. So what happened in this life, in their life, is that child sort of got settled and busy in his life. The child left for the hostel, I think 10th or 12th, whatever. So he finished his education here, and then he went to the hostel. Now, for so many years, wife was busy with raising the child. So his tuition, his hobby classes, his projects, his homeworks, his parent-teacher meeting, PTA, and all that. So this was like her full-time occupation. So the wife was very busy with that. And father was busy with focusing on his career, his promotion, his travel. So like that. So generally, though now they had reached a point where they were like almost touching their 40s, but this time, I mean late 30s, or yeah, around late 30s, and they didn't get enough time for each other. They had not spent enough time with each other. So they could not invest enough to deepen their relationship. Now finally, it's just the two of them and some free time. And what do they do in their free time? I have written over there the three things. They compete with each other, they complain each other's, and they criticize. So 3 C's of unsuccessful marriage: compete, complain, criticize. And this is what their full-time job became whenever they were together. Actually, they had no common hobby, no interest, and they started losing confidence not only in each other, but in their married life itself. So the marriage was at stake, and they started consulting, they started talking to their family members, and someone referred to them to a lawyer, so they met a lawyer also. And thankfully, this lawyer referred them to a psychotherapist. So they were referred to a psychotherapist to try out their last resort. And this therapist, apart from being a therapist, happens to be a Hare Krishna devotee. So this is how they ended up. So this devotee invited this couple that, okay, all set. And I mean, one counseling session happened and she understood or discussed their problem. And then she said, why don't you come to our Sunday feast? We have this wonderful Sunday feast in the temple. Why don't you come and be there? And they both actually visited, and they started relishing it. They got some books and beads too, and they started reading the books together and discussing. And finally, they discovered some common platform. So anyway, so before we go to their happy ending, let's look into their problem. So their problem was, one, they had no common interest. So they felt that they have nothing in common. So we have nothing in common. How can I spend my whole life with this person where I don't know what to talk about? I mean, child was there, so okay, theek hai, bacche ki thodi baat kar li, but the child has gone, so what do I talk to him or her? Second was, they were looking for temporary pleasure, which they were not deriving because of their critical, or rather super critical, attitude towards each other. And both of them would think that my husband or my wife does not understand me. He or she does not reciprocate with me the way I want him or her to. And I do not derive any type of happiness in his company. So this is how they started feeling for each other. And the third was that they desperately wanted the marriage to end. So they would think in their mind that I feel such strong need to end my marriage and to leave my life partner. Life partner, tragic, na? Life partners are also like parted within the life. So now, as I was telling you that they came in touch with ISKCON and they got some solution. So let's see how ISKCON solves these three problems, or how Krishna consciousness solves these three problems. So first was no common interest. They were told that married life is an ashram with Krishna in the center. So married life is not for my enjoyment or your enjoyment, but it is like an ashram. So ashram means that there are rules and regulations. There is certain amount of degree. So we follow all that and we keep Krishna in the center. So yes, so Krishna in the center. So far it was the child or hobby or career or beauty or marriage, etc., which was holding them together. But now they decided to give Krishna a chance. So now they brought Krishna in the center, and they thought that if Krishna is the glue which would hold us together, then nothing can separate us. Of course, there would be differences of opinion. Of course, there would be some misunderstanding here and there, but Krishna would bind us, then no one can separate us. Krishna mare rakhe ke, Krishna rakhe mare ke. So depending on that, so there this problem was resolved. The second problem was of temporary pleasure. And this actually emanates from the fact that they were thinking that they are not being understood. So when they read that Krishna resides as Paramatma in every heart, so the husband and the wife, both of them, they started thinking that my wife or my husband is actually a devotee of Krishna and he is very dear to him. And sometimes he or she may fail to understand me, but then Krishna resides as Paramatma. So what can I do? I can pray to Krishna. I can pray to Krishna, and so that the channel of communication clears up and I get understood. So I get pleasurable dealings with my life partner. And the third point, wanted to end the marriage. So now they also came to know that everything, whatever is happening around us and in our life, everything is actually perfect arrangement of the Lord, including their marriage. So when everything is happening under the supreme will of the Lord, and Lord has placed me in this particular situation where I'm living with this man or this woman, which means Krishna has entrusted me some responsibility to look after those who are in my family. So I cannot just desert them, because deserting them or leaving them would mean that I am shunning away the responsibility which Krishna has given or bestowed upon me. So if I am giving off what Krishna has given me, which means I am ending my relationship with Krishna, which means I am failing Krishna. So with this particular thought process, so then they decided that they would continue with their marriage, and seeing them happily progressing in Krishna consciousness, even the child also took up the process very nicely, and all of them are like singing, dancing, chanting, everything together. Wonderful family. So this was the fourth case. And before we end, their 3 C's of failed marriage actually became 3 C's of their interesting, everlasting marriage. So these 3 C's, note it down, my dear friends, because those of you who are married may need, those of you who are about to get married, they may also need. So 3 C's, compete, complain, criticize, should become commitment, compromise, and communication. So these are the 3 C's for happy married life. Commitment, I am committing in a relationship, and I'm committing in a relationship for lifelong. Not for one day, not for 1 week, not for 1 year, but for lifelong. Then whatever it needs, I am willing to compromise that to maintain my commitment. So that is the second C, that compromise, because marriage is not only taking, marriage is not only what is it in for me, but marriage is what can I give in, what is my offering, because Krishna is in the center. What am I offering to Krishna to keep this relationship? So that is the second C, compromise. And the third C is communication. So communicate to your life partner whatever is bothering you, but at a proper time. Not when your partner is very angry and you open like the list, okay, I have this 1, 2, 3, 4 and 10, 20 complaints against you. No, that is not the time. So we have to find a proper time, and then we communicate, open your heart out and make the partner understand what is bothering you. So these are the 3 C's of a happy married life. Let's go to the 5th case study. And now here is a young married couple. So we dealt with a young boy, we spoke about a divorced case, we discussed a girl, we discussed a middle-aged couple, and now we are talking about a young married couple. So I'm hoping that I am covering all my audience over there. I have chosen the case accordingly. So now this is a husband and a wife with 2 small toddlers, small kids, and they were like having a very happy married life. Wife is actually a devotee, and husband is sort of favorable to ISKCON, and he does whatever it takes to support his wife. So they were having a nice, peaceful, happy, settled life. Now you would think, why am I bringing up this case if everything is happy? So everything was not happy. One fine day, what happened is that the husband lost his job. Initially, it did not become such a big problem as wife was still working. So wife was working for a corporate, and they could manage the things decently. And what they also did is, because they had 2 young toddlers to look after, so they shifted to the girl's house so that the girl's mother can actually help in raising the kids. So they were staying there. So for the male ego, it is a little difficult to go and stay with the in-laws. But here, so far, okay. I mean, from good, it became okay, and they were still surviving. And now what happened? After a while, actually, the husband's father, he passed away, and leaving them with huge loans to be repaid. Like it was almost like 40 or 50 lakh of rupees which this person was supposed to repay. Now this person had no idea that his father had taken so much of loan. But then anyways, so now this person, now we will try to empathize with this man. One, he's staying with his in-laws. Two, he is unemployed. And third, there is such a big, huge, gigantic loan which he has absolutely no clue from where he would repay. So he started feeling quite anxious. And whenever his mother would call, the mother would say that we have to pay, you have to do something. It is all your liability now. You have to take care of it. Why don't you ask your wife for money? And now this person would feel that already my wife is doing so much. How can I ask my wife for more money? Plus this pandemic had just begun. So there was no job opportunity also. So much problem was going on, and mother was criticizing him, and mother-in-law was criticizing sort of him, not very openly, but still mother-in-law was criticizing him, and wife, though she did not say anything at all, but this person became so vulnerable. He lost all his self-esteem. He was thinking that how useless he is. If he wants to give a gift to his child on his birthday, he can't give because he has to ask money from his wife. For every small little thing, he has to take money from his wife. So he was just not okay, and he was like losing himself. He was becoming insane. He was losing himself. So the problem what he was facing is one, loss of financial income. So he was thinking that I have lost all my money and the source of income too. And this is so overwhelming. How do I take care of my responsibility? How to match up to the expectations? So this was one thing which was bothering him. Second was, it was a huge attack on his male ego. I am the man of the house. I am supposed to take care of my wife and my children. When I can't do this much, what is the use of my existence? Right? Especially in Indian families, this is like this is like how it is understood, that the man of the house is supposed to take care of everything. So this was his second worry. And third was the sense of worthlessness, that I am worthless, I am useless, I cannot satisfy anyone in my life. My kids, my wife, my mother, everybody is disappointed. How do I satisfy them? I cannot satisfy them, so I am useless. So he started getting these ideas. He was feeling so useless. Now let's see how to find Krishna conscious solution for such a person who's suffering from these problems. So problem number one, loss of financial income. So there is another beautiful song which says, Ye dhan yauvan putra parijan eti ke aache paratiti re, kamal dal jal jeevan talamal bhajahu hari pada priti re. That whatever there is, my son, my wife, my relatives, my money, to what extent they would help me. At the end of the life is so flickering. Kamala dalajala jivana talamala. Life is so flickering as is a drop of water on a lotus petal. So it is flickering, and any time it can fall. So life can end at any moment. So what you can do is just chant Bhajahu Hari Padaritire, chant the holy names of Lord, sing the glories of the Supreme Lord, because that alone is permanent. Apart from that, everything is temporary. The problems may keep changing shapes and sizes, but the problem would always be there. So he started talking out to himself. The life itself is tottering. My father was here and now he's gone. So his assets and liabilities, actually it was his father's, but because the father has gone, the asset and liability is actually not his anymore. Now it has come to his son. So you see, I think that I am owner. I think that I own this computer, I own this phone, I own this house, I own these clothes, I own this watch. But I am not the owner. because I'll be gone and somebody else would become the owner of these things. So he started thinking that similarly, this lone what is there, which is overwhelming me, is actually not mine. So I must sit and plan carefully what can I do and leave the rest to the Supreme Lord. I should focus on the Supreme Lord, pray to him, do my duties in a detached manner. So that was his learning which helped him in this crisis. The second was an attack to the male ego. So again, there is this beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrit, Ekala Ishvara Krishna Ara Sabha Bhritya Yara Yaiche Nacha Ese Taiche Kare Nritya. That there is only one Purush. In the entire creation, there is only one Purush, and that Purush or that male personality is Krishna. And everybody else is under his control. And Krishna is like that puppeteer and we are the puppets, and he is making us dance on his tunes. So with this he realized that if this is the plan of the Lord, then so be it. My Lord wants to teach me this real lesson on humility and pridelessness. So see the real life situation and taking it in this manner, that what is Krishna trying to teach me? So in this particular case, Krishna was trying to teach him humility and pridelessness. And he realized that else how will I ever improve? So I am very thankful to Krishna for being so merciful to me. He is teaching me a perfect lesson here. He is the perfect teacher. The day we understand that whatever is happening in our life, Krishna is actually teaching us a lesson, that day we become a perfect student. So with this understanding, this person became a perfect student. And this third problem, sense of worthlessness. So now here there is another song which he heard. Tumi Swami, Tumi Putra, Tumi Bandhujan, Tumi Ishta, Tumi Mitra, Tumi Narayan. Everyone, Tumi Swami, Tumi Putra, Tumi Bandhujan, Tumi Ishta, Tumi Mitra, Tumi Narayan. So he started singing this song and he started thinking that how Krishna is the master, Tumi Swami. Krishna is the Putra, the real son. You are the real son. And Tumi Bandhujan, you are the real friend. Tumi Isht, you are my worshipable. Tumi Mitra and Tumi Narayan. So you are that Supreme Lord. So I am getting distracted here thinking about my sense of worthlessness. Whereas Krishna, if you are pleased, if I can satisfy you, then why am I worthless? So if I can please Krishna, then everyone is pleased. I need not please separately my husband, my wife, my child. It's just like watering the root of the tree. So if I water the root of the tree, the whole plant gets watered. The whole tree gets watered. So similarly, if I can please Krishna, then everyone is pleased. Even in my this condition when I am worthless, there's still a way to please Krishna. And if yes, then what is the way? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So if I chant nicely, if I offer bhoga, if I read from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and this person thought, if I can support my wife in all her Krishna conscious efforts, then that would please Krishna. So this is how we see, my dear friends, that when we know the real self, if you get to know your real self, and then you will be automatically confident. Then you can automatically handle the difficulties of life. So then, see, all these situations which we discussed, in none of these situations, actually the externals changed. This confidence came from within. And this confidence has come as a result of understanding my relationship with Krishna. So if I understand my relationship with Krishna, then everything becomes auspicious, and I do not have to go to therapist or counselor to gain self-confidence. I don't have to do courses. I don't have to read books on building self-confidence. All I need to do is just take shelter of Krishna and revive my lost relationship with Krishna. So here we have few beautiful paintings that a devotee is giving is a TEDx speaker or perform. I mean, all these various different people making Krishna the center of their life, and whether material or spiritual, everywhere they become successful, everywhere they become very, very confident. So with this, I would like to end my session, and I would request all of you humbly, please leave your comments in the comment section below in the YouTube. I would really go back and check all your comments, and I really feel very encouraged, and that gives me an idea as how to plan my future session based on your learning and based on your understanding. So thank you all very much. Those of you who are waiting on Zoom can hold on. We will end the session with our YouTube viewers. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.